impenetrable. And actually at our center, we've been compiling U.S. statements over the past week to see how those statements have shifted. They're very difficult to understand. And I think the word transition has become one of the most abused and misunderstood words in recent memory. Everyone keeps on saying it, transition, transition, it must begin now. And I think people aren't really understanding what that means. It doesn't mean that the U.S. is asking Mubarak to leave, because it is possible to have a transition that Mubarak himself is leading. And increasingly, that seems to be something that the EU and the U.S. are comfortable with. And we saw Catherine Ashton's comments just right now. She has stopped short of even addressing the issue of Mubarak's resignation. So I think now the question is, there are some statements are coming, but how are the U.S. and the EU following up and actually putting pressure?
Well, there seems to be a lot happening behind the scenes that we're not aware of as yet. And we heard Lawrence Lee there in one of his questions allude to this New York Times report, which suggested that there were discussions going on between the White House and Hosni Mubarak, and among the proposals was a plan for Mubarak to resign immediately and hand power to a military-backed interim government under Omar Suleiman. What do you make of that? Do you think this could be possibly a solution?
That would be a step forward, and I think there's some confusion about what has actually happened behind closed doors. Clearly, Mubarak seems confident that he can stay in power for the long haul. And even after the phone call with President Obama the other night, Mubarak just came out of that the following day, seemingly more emboldened. So whatever the U.S. is saying, or the EU, it's clearly not having the intended effect of moving this process forward. So I think now the question is the U.S. willing to use its leverage? Because we have to remember—
And what's that leverage? Cutting military